We got ourselves a big ol' NBA slate today with some of the most injured teams you have ever seen. It is tanking season for some folks out there. We're going to dig into all what we always do here, comparing my projections. Some of the industry leaders out there like Stokastic, of course, like our friends at Unabated, who you'll be hearing more about, getting some best bets from at the halfway point of this video. We'll also run some DFS lineup sims using Stokastic data, see what the field will be playing as some of those top sim lineups. And by the end of this video, you'll know my splash plays of today's NBA slate. March 7th, let's get into it. And I should actually pull up the Q-Tag tweet because we do have some Q-Tag boys to look at here. Oh, don't look at my DMs. All right, there we go. All the DMs I'm sending that are completely lewd in nature. Your Q-Tag tweet, we got Nikola Jokic, Chet Holmgren, Tyler Hero, Rudy Gobert, Aaron Gordon, Denny Avdia, Andrew Wiggins, not Aaron Wiggins, who's going to be very important on this slate as well, Jeremy Grant, Santi Aldama. If you got both Avdia and Jeremy Grant out, that would matter quite a bit. Guys like Shaden Sharp, some maybe even a Chris Murray type. Santi Aldama, Caleb Martin, Alec Burks, Jaime Jaquez, and Jalen Brunson, who hurt himself yesterday. He's in the projection sets right now. People assuming he's going to play because it's supposedly only a sprained ankle, but sprained ankle, he probably also would not play. So Brunson being out actually would matter a little bit, would give us even more value on the slate. Let's dig into my projections, though, here. Let me check the chats real fast. You don't want me canceled. I don't think I'm getting canceled. Hope hoops go better. Live bet Aberg on a hole. All right. Well, hope golf goes well for all of you guys that are golf boys. And of course, you want data for this slate. Unabated, a great data partner for me in general, for everybody else out there as well. DFS projections, betting data, their conditional NBA projections do great work with Justin Fan of the team. So 20% off, link in the description, check them out. And of course, Stokastic, 15% off. They don't have any promo codes going, and they're going through some company stuff on the back end. But, you know, great company, of course, for the data, for the tools they give you. So check them out, 15% off. And, you know, check out their shows as well coming up later today. The deeper dive, not on it today, so it'll be a good show because I'm not there. Let's get into it. I don't know why I felt like I had to do plugs there, but we're doing plugs. Nikola Jokic, top protected player for me on the slate. The issue, it is impossibly easy to get to Nikola Jokic. So as a result, you could start to think about handle that accordingly. Maybe paying up for another guy would be a way to get unique. Maybe trying to take some secondary nuggets pieces to get your leverage on other Jokic players. But basically, with all the value on the slate, it is incredibly easy to get to Jokic. Denver on the slate, a 10 o'clock game. Jokic is a Q tag, so maybe that keeps the ownership in check a little bit more. But basically, when you have a ton of value, people go to the top protected player. And at least for me, Jokic is a top protected player by 14 points over James Harden. For Stokastic, it looks like Jokic is a top protected player over Karl Anthony Towns by 16 fantasy points as well. So everybody will get to Jokic. Pretty much doesn't matter how that looks. Let's see. We got James Harden at number 2. So there were some layoffs, and I don't. It's not my place to say anything, but there were some layoffs, is what it was, including one of our cherished producers. So if he puts a tweet out, that's his business. But yeah, I heard about it today. A bit of a bummer. It means that there's not going to be like production during the shows. It'll be a StreamYard show, much like I do here. So, you know, pretty much the same thing. But I think other people might have gotten laid off too. I don't really know enough, to be honest. Just one person I like a lot, unfortunately, was laid off. James Harden at number 2, 35% here is my sim ownership, my top 150. Larry, chill. I can't be more clear. James Harden. I'm not here to make gossip. You'll figure it out probably in about half an hour or an hour or so. James Harden looks like a good play to me here. He's really your biggest rate winner from Norman Powell being out. He's still out here. Kevin Porter Jr. as well. Another guy who does help the rates out for guys like James Harden on the Clippers today. But really, Kawhi Leonard playing enough minutes. If you wanted to go to him, I wouldn't have any issue with it. But James Harden with his 34% usage, 39% assist rate, 1.4 fantasy points per minute, that's making me get him a little bit more. So Harden will be one of my pivot points to a guy like Jokic on the slate. It's not really even the same price tag with Harden being 9,800, Jokic being 12,300, but also just having Harden in some amount of lineups for me today, 35% of my top 150 in the Stokastic sim with my data. I ran before the show. I like that because it'll give me some flexibility if we do get somebody ruled out late. That matters. If Jokic himself gets ruled out, keeping some flexibility there would be helpful. And Jokic is a Q tag. I assume he'll play again, much like he did last game, also on a Q tag. But if you got Jokic out, like you might have to swap to Harden in the flex just to get somebody who's like a pay up option with the ceiling. So he does look good to me for whatever that's worth. And then if you want to get leverage on Harden, you can play Kawhi, I guess, and leave a shitload of money on the table. Karl-Anthony Towns, he'll look a lot better if Jalen Brunson is out. We'll get more usage, probably a little more assists as well, but really it'll start to look like a better situation for him. Josh Hart, if campaign were to start, he'd be a late value opening up. The Knicks game tonight is late because they're playing the Clippers. They're the last game on the slate. So 10:30 East Coast time. And this one today on the FanDuel slate, on the DraftKings slate. So we all have to deal with it as a family together, much like Fast and the Furious. Towns is really an important player to know as well. But that's why me having Harden, me having Jokic, hopefully I can keep some flexibility to do it. Denver game is at 10 o'clock Eastern. Clippers game / the Knicks game is at 10:30 Eastern. So it is a late swap kind of slate. So prepare accordingly, sit down with your loved ones and tell them I have to be looking at my laptop every 15 minutes, which is what I do to make sure you guys have updated projections for people who are paying here, joining down below. But for you, everybody else out there, if you want to make money on the slate and you're playing NBA DFS, if you have any alive lineups, frankly, even if you have dead lineups, you should still be swapping. There's going to be key players to know later on. We got Scotty Barnes here, 67% in the top 150 lineups, 60% for me right now. Barnes projects too well to $7,900 salary. Some of the smaller rate sample sizes, he gets up to like 1.5 fantasy points a minute when you take off all the various Raptors that are out. And it's a lot of guys out today. You have RJ Barrett out for rest. You have Pirtle out. You have Grady Dick out. You have Ochai Agbaji out. There's a few more. You have Mogbo out. You have now doubtful Chris Boucher. So for all intents and purposes, he's out. There's just too many guys out for Toronto to not get Scotty Barnes. The issue is the thing I always talk about with you guys, though, where for Toronto, you're consolidating a lot of stats that normally a full team gets. And that's how projection systems work. That's how mine work. It's what, makes projections kind of work well. But that said, if Toronto just sucks today, if they were to bomb, and it's really the issue too, is that like they're not playing a good team. They're playing Utah. So for Toronto, you're looking at a decent team total here. It's 116.8 implied points. A not good opponent. Utah's, defensive efficiency rating is about, where are they at? 119.5. So giving up almost 120 points, 100 possessions. That's not good. They're playing a shitty team. So your good guys here, like Barnes, like Quickly, should thrive. But really, like, it's hard to expect somebody on Toronto to not hit hugely. And Barnes is the guy that is the biggest value / ceiling play overall. McBride would also potentially benefit for New York, but it just depends on who they start. Could be Campaign, could be McBride. None of that would shock me. Wonder who hands the ball. It honestly doesn't even matter. It's just somebody will bring it up. They'll run the offense through Towns. Probably Hart would be doing a lot of it, but again, it doesn't really matter that much. For most teams, like who brings the ball up, just like they're giving the ball away at half court a good amount of the time for some teams. And the Knicks would be one of them. Emmanuel Quickly, 77% for him, for me. Fields at 39. So Barnes, I'm pretty much a little bit above the field, but with the field. Quickly, I'm going almost 2x the field on it. I think that he is a strong play here. Again, he gets also a pretty big rate uptick. For the Raptors rates I used, I went a little bit lower because I basically didn't want to take off a million different guys, kept Olynyk on, kept Bruce Brown on, just mostly took off Barrett. For court time without RJ Barrett, Quickly's got 27% usage, 32% assist rate, 1.2 fantasy points per minute. So at this point, there's nobody else really left. I took off actually for the sake of accuracy, took off Barrett and Dick, I believe, is what I made sure to get the rates for, which gave me enough minutes for everybody. But we're not getting super granular. So point being, Barnes and Quickly look great. Other Raptors, if somehow these guys were to fail, I honestly don't even know who would be scoring points at that point. Jamison Battle getting hot from three. If Garrett Temple got minutes. Jared Rhoden is a guy who will get some shots up. Like AJ Lawson, I know people, my pal Josh Engelman mentioned on the strategy show for Stokastic this morning. I don't know that he's very good, but he can get shots up. Jamal Shed has been good, so maybe he's one. Like somebody else will hit for Toronto just because of the nature of how DFS works. But yeah, good matchup, good total. Something will work here. Your expectation is it's going to be Barnes and Quickly, but there's not a lot of guys, so that's how it is. DeMar DeRozan, 41% for the field. I'm getting 42. He's your big winner in rates without Malik Monk, without Domantas Sabonis. DeRozan has averaged a crazy number overall. 31% usage for him, 29% assist rate. And for DeRozan, 1.15 fantasy points per minute is a lot. And that's in 300 possessions without De'Aaron Fox, without Sabonis, without Malik Monk. Of course, Fox no longer on the team, though he's going to be on the other side of the game today. Sabonis, Monk, both guys who have the ball a lot in their hands. DeRozan picks up a lot from it. So $7,500 salary. If you wanted to get leverage on him, Levine would be sort of an obvious play to go to there. Keegan Murray, if he were to get going, DeRozan probably comes down a little bit with that. J Val too, I guess same thing. But DeRozan does a little bit of everything, gets more usage, gets more assist upside. He looks pretty good here. Anthony Edwards, no big stands here. Again, a lot of guys in this range, 5% or less. We see so much ownership going to Jokic. If you're just instead to take Anthony Edwards and LaMelo Ball, Miles Bridges, who I've projected fairly well, Kevin Durant on the other side of Jokic, take any of these players, you're getting less owned, and you are also spending the money in a different way. So that's sort of the main thing to take away from what you're seeing on the screen right now. And let's sort by value here. Let's see what we get. And shout out our guy J-Main back. Always glad to see new names coming back for another stream. If you guys are tuning in, make sure you subscribe. I think we're 6 people away from 1,000. So we should hit it on the stream here today. If we do hit 1,000, let me know and I'll blow one of my noisemakers here. But please subscribe down below, hit the like button, leave a comment. Again, really, we're so close. So please just put us over the top here for that 1,000. And I'm going to start shoving ads in your face. I shouldn't pair these thoughts together, but you know how it is. Aaron Wiggins, your top value here. Not too confused with Andrew, who I believe is not related to him. But somebody correct me if I'm wrong there. 93% of my lineups of Aaron Wiggins. He's basically the best producer overall for the Thunder when the other guys aren't available. I wrote up today for DraftKings Network, the usual article I do for Unabated. That's like their partnership with DraftKings Network. Basically looking at conditional projections, seeing how it would look if Chet Holmgren were out. With the way the EV lines up, basically, like there would be too much EV on the under for every Thunder player. And Chet Holmgren right now doesn't even have a line on DraftKings Sportsbook. I think Chet doesn't play. It would make sense if he played because you could sort of stagger him and Hartenstein, but like they don't play again until Sunday. It's not like they're on a back-to-back. So I think it's possible Holmgren sits. It would make sense for him to sit when you have Dort, Jalen Williams, SGA, Hartenstein all out. Keson Wallace out too, but I think he might have been out anyway. I would assume that you could get Holmgren sitting. It's 50-50 and unabated. So let's say it's 50-50. But if that happens, Wiggins is like an even better play. He's your strongest play here. And I think right now, if you have Holmgren in for any amount of minutes, Wiggins is like the one play for the Thunder that kind of cuts through the noise and looks like a great play. Guys like Isaiah Joe, Alex Caruso, Usman Jang, you see some of them down here. They're all okay, but Wiggins is like the play, I think, right here. This is useful. Thank you. Go fuck myself. I can't say. I feel like you need a non-troll name here if you're going to give me serious thoughts sometimes. And Rick here, it's a good Spags. Hope all's well. Glad your channel's coming alive. Thank you for that. I mean, it's been alive. We've been doing well view-wise. Just the subscriber count fucking can't get to 1,000 no matter how much. Thought we were going to hit it like a month ago. Anyway, Yusuf Nurkic at number 2. So Nurkic, Stokastic has at 23 minutes. I think there's a shot that he can get you to high 20s minutes here. 41% of my top 150 lineups. 29% for Yusuf Nurkic in the field. He's a strong play. He's actually put up like 1.3 fantasy points a minute. When you take off, for the most part, Mark Williams on there. They haven't played a lot of minutes together. But his like Hornets stint has been really effective. He's also getting a lot of assist upside, which feels kind of flighty. But, I mean, he's getting the ball at the elbow. He's doing some stuff with it, kicking it out to the corners a lot. He's playing well. So 3,700, you have some minutes risk. I would, consider playing. If you don't have Nurkic in lineups, give a boost to Diabate because maybe Diabate takes some minutes away. Nurkic gets in foul trouble, whatever. But he looks pretty good at 3,700. Your big issue is that you have value today playing 30-plus minutes, and Nurkic is probably not getting there no matter what. All right, so Campaign at number 3. Getting some minutes from Stokastic here in the update. Did they take Brunson out? They may have. Yeah, they took Brunson out, so that's why. So they have Campaign being the big minutes winner. That was a change right before the show, so apologies that I'm seeing the data here for the first time. Basically, have to rerun everything like 1 minute before the show and get it going. For Yusuf Nurkic here, Campaign, if Campaign were starting, you'd feel a little bit more confident in his minutes being there, but they could jerk him around. You could go to a Miles McBride. You could want to get more defense in there against the Clippers because you have enough players, even with Norman Powell not in, that you want to defend adequately. Campaign not going to be a guy who adds value to that. But as it is right now, giving him 24 minutes, he looks good at a $3,100 salary. He's been a good producer all year. He's been averaging 0.98 fantasy points per minute. I would have him at 1.07 without goosing the rates at all for Jalen Brunson being out. So Campaign, I think, a strong play here at 3,100. Question, Joe or Wiggins in single entry? The projection would put you on Wiggins, I think. Wiggins will probably be, I mean, look, single entry, it's up to you and your risk tolerance, but like in single entry, I would think Wiggins will be like, he'll be closer played to what my sim ownership is here. He'll be in like 9 out of 10 lineups. So you should probably play him, I think. Play Wiggins a lot anyway. Aaron Wiggins? You shouldn't play Aaron Wiggins that often. You should play him when the Thunder guys are out, though, and that's obviously today. Jacoby Walter getting a lot of minutes today because of the shortened rotation. You have no Agbaji, no Barrett, the wing minutes, no Dick. That gets a ton of minutes to go around for Jacoby Walter. He's not a fantastic producer. Would have him under one fantasy point per minute here, but 27% owned for the field. I'm getting him at 39, so Jacoby Walter, a key play. Orlando Robinson, I think Stokastic has not given him enough minutes. I would have him playing 30, 31 minutes here because there's no other big man left. They're going to have to play they might have to play Jacoby Walter at center a little. They might have to play, I think Jamison Battle might have to play center, and he's absolutely not a center. They don't have like legitimately large people. At Utah, the backup center against Filipowski, you could be fine playing somebody small. Against Walker Kessler, though, you have to match Kessler's minutes. So I think Orlando Robinson, a little bit of a short shrift here. He's not a great producer. He is your guy in the thumbnail because you probably don't know his face. It was initially Chris Boucher, but then he got downgraded. So I guess got to go Orlando Robinson here. I trust Orlando Robinson more than Campaign. I trust him more than Nurkic, I think, because of the minutes are just going to be there. He's not as good of a producer as Nurkic, so it kind of comes out in the wash. But yeah, Orlando Robinson is too cheap. He's a starter here, and I don't get why I'm getting 15%. But Stokastic ownership's at 29. I think I'll get more when I get my lineups in because I just don't agree with him being under the field on him. But a not great producer, but there's just no other big men left, and they need a big man in this matchup. Wiggins' thumb, I mean, whatever. I don't. It doesn't really matter. He's also like a guy who's going to attack the rim. He obviously shoots enough threes. Like he puts up like about 10 threes per 100 possessions, but doesn't really matter. When you just don't have anybody in, and he's the best athlete, he's been an alpha dog in the past. Whenever guys have been out, I think you still have to play Wiggins a lot. But look, the Thunder. If Isaiah Joe gets hot, if Caruso does a little bit more, Usman Jang fills it up a little bit. Like there's ways Wiggins can fail. It's just he's your best per minute producer, and if Holmgren's out, I don't know how you wouldn't play Wiggins on every lineup. Or get him in every lineup in a projection kind of situation. Jalen Williams, your backup center for the Thunder, looking pretty good as well. I'm getting in 27% of my lineups. Fields at 20%. I really feel like he and Orlando Robinson should be coming up similarly for me, but I do have Jalen Williams projected about 6 fantasy points higher. So look, Jalen Williams, the rates take a big jump up for him. Court time without the various Thunder, I would have him at 200 possessions, 1.25 fantasy points per minute. Doesn't get a ton of usage, but rebounds well, gets some assists. So Jalen Williams, and we know we can knock down some threes. Sometimes we'll go ice cold from there, though, so I don't want to promise a whole lot. But with Jalen Williams at 4,300, he looks good. He and Orlando Robinson, to me, your pay down center options that are going to stand out the most besides Nurkic. Isaiah Joe looks good as well. He will gain a little bit if Holmgren is out because of the fact you just give him a few more points, a rebound, an assist. That's how that would look. Isaiah Joe projected to play 33 minutes. He can get hot from 3. If he gets cold from 3, he can underperform, but 31% for the field. I'm getting 35. Usman Jang filled it up a couple weeks ago when there were no Thunder players left. He's a 3K minimum salary guy, contributes in every category. I think he is worth some exposure. Fields at 5%. I'm getting 4. Miles McBride, 17% for the field. I'm at 23. He looks okay here, if assuming that you do get Brunson out, and that's the assumption right now, even though we have not gotten the Knicks injury report, unless that's happened, I guess, unless there's been a tweet or something that came out while we've been doing the show. Now I'm looking to make sure. Bro, a tweet saying Brunson got negative x-rays on ankle. Still think he would be out, though. So if he's out, Miles McBride, Stokastic clearly has being the big minutes winner, even though Campaign also gains a lot. Moussa Diabate, if you're not playing Nurkic, consider boosting Diabate, who still projects well as a value. Because he's projected for 22.8 minutes, he's not quite getting there as a projection play. And Emmanuel quickly, we talked about already, huge value there. We're going to go game-by-game speed mode here so we can get to unabated. But guys, please subscribe down below, hit the like button, leave a comment after the video. It all goes a long way here for me. Just one guy trying to make it work on this channel and this busy YouTube ecosystem. And I do appreciate 170 of you guys here live, all on YouTube hanging out. Of course, I'm doing the work here every Monday to Friday at 4 p.m., so check it out. Support the show, join down below. $5 tier gets you access to the Discord. The other tiers get you access to the show, data I'm showing you on screen, and my own projections if you want. And of course, check out our sponsors, Unabated, 20% off. Link down below. You'll see more from them in a moment. And Stokastic, you also see more from 15% off. Link down below. Woo, there we go. That's how you whore. That's how you whore speed mode style. Cleveland, 126 implied points. Nice total for them. Charlotte, 110 implied points. Despite the high total, nobody looks good for Cleveland here. You want to take tournament shots, though. Nobody's going to be here. Your big issues are giving away that early flexibility. And really, there are a lot of injury statuses we need to know later on in the day. So Cleveland, I'll save some time here. I'm getting nobody above 3% owned. But I do think with that total, with a soft matchup versus Charlotte, it is a little bit of a pace down, but you're really not a defense you're worried about. And Cleveland has guys that could be outliers on a given night. Really don't have an issue taking shots here, but really for like a 20 max, I probably won't do it. If you were doing 150, it's probably where you're starting to do it a little bit more. But otherwise, those guys just don't project well enough. Let's see. Do we think Toronto keeps their tank game strong and we see less minutes for Barnes and Quickly? I don't think they're deliberately tanking like that. I mean, it's not a bad theory. It's just the rotation's short enough now. I think it's literally like a 9-man rotation at this point. You kind of can't not play guys. So like we saw the other night with Philadelphia, they ended up still playing like Grimes to the end of the third quarter. So no matter what, you're probably getting those guys playing 3/4 of 80% of the minutes, and then maybe they come out. So it's possible. And thank you for this nice little chat from John here. You're awesome, informative, quick, and entertaining. Somebody should put you on a payroll. Hey, look, I don't know that I want to be on a payroll, but I appreciate it. I just want to get paid lavish affiliate fees by my partners. That's all I'm hoping for. But you guys can contribute to that as well by clicking the links. But I appreciate it, John. It's really nice of you to say thank you for doing it. And thank you guys for hanging out on this Friday. Fun Friday here. Charlotte, so not a lot of ownership for these guys. Bridges, though, does stand out a little bit at 8,300. 7% ownership for me. Fields at 5%. LaMelo, I'm not getting very much these days. It's not a bad total for Charlotte relative to their standards, but 110 implied points isn't doing a whole lot for you. But I do think Bridges playing well in general without Brandon Miller, plays better without LaMelo Ball, but having a shot creator near him also, frankly, gives him some better looks. So don't hate going to Bridges. I think the same thing applies that we just talked about with Cleveland. You get somebody that hits early on, people just aren't going to play these guys. So it's really the main reason to consider it. And Yusuf Nurkic right now, 29% ownership for him. He looks good. The issue is like he's probably not getting you to 30 minutes. I think he can get you to 27, 28 today, especially if he's playing well and they just can't sub. It is still a tough matchup versus Cleveland, though. So you run the risk and, foul trouble, whatever. So Nurkic, I like him as a play, but I probably would want to not go too nuts here. Yes, we're 2 away, right? Yes, please. Everybody shame them for not. Please subscribe, guys. We're almost there. We can do it. You can do it by the end of the stream. Utah, if you put your back into it, especially. Utah, 111.3 implied points. Walker Kessler looks good to me here. Going against Toronto, as talked about Orlando Robinson on the thumbnail. That said, Walker Kessler should be able to eat up Orlando Robinson. Kessler, without having Markkanen out there, along with Clarkson and Collins, is the rates that I pulled. Did 510 possessions. He's averaged 1.2 fantasy points per minute. Picks up a little bit in assist upside. Rebounds even better. Gets a little bit more usage. So Kessler, I think, is a sneaky play on the slate. 9% owned by the field. I'm getting at 30. And it's there. Did we get it? Do we hit? There we go. Hey, noisemaker time. It's like Pee Wee Herman's Playhouse here. We get 1,000. Woo! Please, nobody unsubscribe. You're locked in now. But thank you guys for being a part of this journey. It's been a few months. Taking a little bit longer than it probably should. But hey, for a channel going live 1 hour a day, I do appreciate you guys being here. And thanks for being a part of this growth. It's fun. It's fun to build things. And stay tuned. More NBA, probably MLB on this channel as well in the next few months. So Utah, Walker Kessler is it for me. Nobody else looking that good. Keontae George, another Q tag for him. If he goes, he looks good. If he doesn't go, he doesn't look good. And he would open more up for Isaiah Collier. You would probably get a Sensabaugh start, though he is never guaranteed to close. Yeah, so Utah, an important team on the slate as well, especially as it relates to just getting some leverage, perhaps if somebody hits as a bring back for the Toronto guys. Ads, finally. That's what you guys are rooting for. Thank you guys. I love the positivity in the channel. I do appreciate all you guys because that's what makes me happy. What's the max amount of salary you'd leave on the table today? I don't leave salary on the table that often. If the projections were so much higher for you, you could leave 1,000 on the table. But in NBA, it's not usually the rule of thumb. You want to eat it up with good players usually. Toronto, 116.8 implied points on their side. And thank you guys for all the kind chats. I really do appreciate it. Glad we have this lovely Squirt Squad community here. And if you want to be a part of it, just keep subscribing down below with the like button. Again, new streams Monday to Friday, 4 p.m. All right, so Toronto here. I got to make better time. Toronto, I think we've talked about enough throughout the prism of this video. I'm up on the field on Scotty Barnes. He's in 2/3 of my lineups. Emmanuel Quickly, 76% of my lineups, or 77. Jacoby Walter, 39% of my lineups. Orlando Robinson, I want to have in more. only in 15. AJ Lawson, Stokastic is given the big minutes bump too. I'm not really sure why, because he's a small guy. So I don't think he helps out what they need, which is bigger dudes, kind of 4s, 5s. Jamison Battle can play some 4 and 5. Jamal Shed can't. AJ Lawson can't. Jacoby Walter can, and conceptually, Garrett Temple's a vet. Maybe he could. I just don't think AJ Lawson's your big winner here. But these guys are all 3K. Jared Roden, I think, is the one that has a shot of playing center. He at least rebounds a little bit. But this is where we are for Toronto. Most important team on the slate. Good matchup. I've hopefully given you enough on them throughout the course of the video. And thank you guys. I love you guys. Group hug. Yes, group hug for it. Let's all hug your form of media, your phone, your iPad, your laptop, your screen. Come on. I need not hug that screen. I'll give you my feet like I did in the NFL stream this morning. Memphis, 124.5 implied points here. Nobody standing out that much. Your ownership's going to be really consolidated in a few games today. No Jaren Jackson, obviously. He's out with a sprained ankle probably for a few weeks. Ja Morant, 10% owned. I'm getting 3. Nobody else above 1.5%. So Vince Williams, an okay value if you want to try to get unique with it. But Memphis, good total here. Nobody stands out, and they will abuse Dallas. Do you think my pal Josh Engelman raised a good point about Zach Edey and the matchup yesterday on the NBA strategy show for Stokastic? Think that for Zach Edey, he can abuse a Dallas team that at this point has nothing even resembling a center. If the minutes don't get high enough, he might not spike enough upside and you have some value at center. But he's at 4,800 and the minutes projection from Stokastic isn't as high as you need to get for him to pop up meaningfully. So I would plant. I think Josh had a good point about it and it stuck with me. So get 5% Zach Edey, see what it does for you. More if you want. Dallas, Klay Thompson is the big rate winner from having nobody left. His usage is getting sky high lately because basically nobody else is willing to get shots up. Max Christie does shoot a little bit, but the rates are now getting tough for him with some of the guys who aren't available. And frankly, I'm a little bit tired of point chasing Max Christie when he isn't really scoring points. He does get shots up though. If he gets hot, you'd see less Klay Thompson. But Klay, I'm getting a 3x the field. I might try to flatten this out a little bit more. But Klay basically was the rate winner that I pulled for all the various Mavs missing because I don't really know what to do with the Mavs rates at this point. Najee Marshall looking good, 18% for me in my top 150 fields at 16. He gains a little bit in everything. He's also started to hit his threes finally. Last time out for Dallas. Because you have no Omax in, he probably gets a few more minutes as well. So Najee Marshall looking okay. Dante Exum, I like as well. He gains a lot of usage, becomes a 1.29 fantasy point per minute guy for me in this matchup, accounting for the Vegas total and the rates that he's had without the various Mavs. And I gave Dinwiddie a little bit of a projection boost, but still can't get him above 28. He just doesn't do enough with most of these guys not in the court. Besides that, Brandon Williams still in play. I really didn't get him though. Mavs feel like they should be a more important team, but I do like Klay, do like Exum. I probably should have more Christie because I don't want to not be there on the day where he finally does something well, and that's that. If we were 1,000 subscribers, what do you win? You win thank yous, and you win ads on YouTube. But thanks for joining. I appreciate it. You win my undying love. How about that? Priceless, many are saying. Wasn't a giveaway, though, for the record. Portland, I didn't make any promises here. Portland, 112.8 implied points. As we talked about, Avdia, Jeremy Grant, questionable. If those guys are out, it's going to change quite a bit. Basically, for Denny Avdia, he's the big winner normally with DeAndre Ayton off the court, so that's why I'm getting him in 5% of my lineups. But if Jeremy Grant were out, it would look a little bit better for Shaedon Sharpe, would look a little bit better for pretty much everybody else here. So if Avdia and Grant are out, I think it starts to look a little different where, I mean, Svani Kamara's already getting good minutes. I think Shaedon Sharpe would become closer to not a must play, but a core play. Simons, I don't get a lot of, but I think he would get better. Scoot Henderson would get a few more minutes. That's that. Brunson officially out. There you go. So Brunson out. It's already in the data set anyway. Hey, shout out 200 live viewers. Hey, thanks for joining, guys. Appreciate you being here. See, this is what happens. I told you guys, we get to 1,000 subs. YouTube finally starts helping out a little, recommending the show. But we appreciate you guys hanging out. New streams Monday to Friday at 4 p.m. So join down below, subscribe to all the stuff, guys. We're getting to some good teams now. OKC and good bets coming up as well, unabated. So hang on for that. Bets and DFS sims coming up. So stay tuned. But OKC, 93% ownership for Aaron Wiggins in my top 150. As I mentioned, he is the Thunder guy. I can't imagine fading. I would rather have him in 100% of lineups than 0. But if somebody else does a little bit better here, then obviously Wiggins comes down. Chet Holmgren, as I mentioned, the betting markets would seemingly lead you to believe that Holmgren doesn't play today. Stokastic's only given him 26 minutes. If he were to play today, I would think he plays 30. He played a little bit over 31 2 games ago. But who knows? I don't know why Stokastic dropped the minutes projection for him. If Holmgren plays, I don't think he's quite as good of a play as the field seemingly does. Earlier in the day, he was projected around the industry for 50% ownership. It's a little bit aggressive. He doesn't really gain much rate-wise from having, literally from having SGA, from having Jalen Williams, Hartenstein off the court. He just doesn't do a lot more in terms of usage, in terms of rebound rate. But he would be your primary scorer. The ceiling probably gets higher. So I think Chet Holmgren's an okay play if he's in, but I think he's going to be out based on the betting markets. Alex Caruso doesn't gain a lot rate-wise. His usage hasn't been that good on the year. He's also been shooting kind of badly at 53% true shooting. So for Caruso, I'm not getting him here. The minutes are not that high in the Stokastic minutes projection as well with 24. But if you were to get Caruso, I wouldn't be mad at it because he's really one of your primary Thunder players that's not picking up any ownership at all. Jalen Williams looks good. The one who's actually playing today, the big man, Jalen Williams, 27% owned in my top 150, Fields at 20. Isaiah Joe, 35% in my top 150, Fields at 31. Kenneth Williams, 11% for me, Fields at 13. Feel like I'm not going crazy over Kenneth Williams, but I suppose if Jalen Williams were to somehow play less minutes, if they went small or something, Kenrich playing the 5 would be a possibility. But you still have enough guys you could go to here. Brandon Carlson is on the team. He can play the big man spot. It's not a short rotation. It is still a 10-man. So you kind of want Holmgren to be out because then you're down to a 9-man rotation. You're probably at that point getting Jalen Williams starting. Brendan Carlson is the backup. I think you'd get Wiggins starting in that case. And it honestly doesn't really matter. Holmgren being out would matter, though. So right now it looks like a mostly Aaron Wiggins situation with some Jalen Williams, some Isaiah Joe, some whatever. But if Holmgren goes out, everything consolidates even more. Oh man, presented by SpankBang. I wish I didn't even know we're digging down the porn rabbit. What, I couldn't get X videos or Pornhub. I have to go to SpankBang. Which again, fine site for the adults out there. Minnesota 110.5 implied points. I got nothing here. 5% or less for everybody. If Gobert is out, Naz Reid looks better. Randall looks better, but probably not a team to play on the slate. Miami, nothing here either. You need some guys to be out. Hero being out again would help. But as it is, this game looks really easy to ignore. And maybe that makes it an interesting tournament game, but these guys don't project well, really. If everybody's in for both teams, I don't see how you'd play it on the slate. Phoenix, 115.8 implied points. They're going against Denver, so maybe some equity getting one more player as a bring back to all that chalky Jokic ownership. That'd be one way to drop the ownership product down a little bit. That said, Phoenix doesn't look that good to me. Tough price tags for Durant and Booker, both guys around 9K. Bradley Beal, he's in. I really don't want to play him. Really, Phoenix doesn't look good, but I could see in lineups with Jokic, if you're going to do the solver like I often do on slates where I'm just trying to update stuff fast, don't have time to run it through a sim, maybe give a boost in lineups where you have Jokic, give a boost to Durant, give a boost to Booker, boost to Beal. That'd probably be it because those are the only guys playing meaningful minutes. That's really the main value of Phoenix. Projection-wise, though, they're not going to occur naturally too much. And Denver, Jokic, everybody can afford on the slate, so they will play him. He's a Q tag right now. You need to know his status. Having the flexibility going on late, I think you play him no matter what. If you have to pivot down to Towns, pivot down to Harden, that's fine. But try to play Jokic with the field. 49% for the field. I'm getting into 57. With Jokic in, nobody looks good. If Jokic are out, these guys will all look better. They're all playing big minutes. Had a debate with our guy, I am the KY in the Discord earlier. Basically, like Denver's playing good minutes. They're kind of secure in the rotation. If you want to fade some value and go to like Denver guys, build a more balanced build, I think that's reasonable. But, you just have a lot better values going on. Colin Gillespie nuke. I mean, he's scored points. He's doing something at least, which is more you could say for some bench scrubs. San Antonio, we've got 113.5 implied points. De'Aaron Fox's homecoming. You want to give him a boost for that, you can, but his rates really don't increase with Wembanyama off the court. He's actually doing a little bit worse in terms of usage and assist rate than he was doing in Sacramento, which is not really what you want to see for Fox. But he did give an interview on ESPN today where it did seem like he's pretty motivated for the revenge game aspect of things. Didn't like them constantly firing coaches. He had told them if they fire Mike Brown, he's gone. They fired Mike Brown. He then asked for a trade immediately. So for Fox, I could see getting 10% of Fox with the field just so you don't get left with nothing. Projection-wise, though, he does not look that good. Sacramento, 120 implied points on their side. A lot of DeRozan here. 42% for me, 41% for the field. You could easily get a low-roan Zach LaVine. I'm not doing that. You could easily get a low-roan Jonas Valanciunas. I'm not doing that. I think that flattening your ownership out, we're getting DeRozan a lot, would be logical. DeRozan is your big rate winner, though, from not having Fox, not having Sabonis, not having Malik Monk, the latter two of whom are out tonight. Keon Ellis getting starter minutes was great last game for them. Price tag's up $100, still playable here. Not as good of a value as some other guys, but getting 19, 20%, I'm okay with that. New York, we just found out Brunson's officially out. He's been out in the projection set. I didn't update my rates for it. And actually, let me look that up real fast because it is worth noting for the Knicks. You're not going to be able to see it on screen, so bear with me, but I'm checking add more funds, which if you are serious about DFS, tool worth paying the $10 a month for, because you can see people's rate data when players are off the court. So Knicks without Brunson this year. I won't take anybody else off because it doesn't really matter if Jericho Sims is in it. Your best per minute guy is Karl-Anthony Towns, averaging 1.64 fantasy points a minute. Josh Hart gets to 1.1, Campaign 1.04, Anunoby 0.99, McBride 0.91. Bridges still not that good at 0.84, but Towns basically becomes mini Jokic. So Towns, I think, will be a guy I end up getting more of when I adjust for things a little bit. Wowie's great. Used to be free, and then this site bought it. But really one of the better tools. It's been important for NBA DFS for like a decade now. So anyway, Towns, I think, will be the bigger winner when I update stuff more. He still looks good to me here. Tough to play him over Jokic, but if you were to take some of that Jokic ownership away, go to Towns. It is logical. Not a great matchup versus the Clippers, but not a terrible one going against Zubac. Miles McBride looks good. Campaign, we talked about earlier, getting 30% of him. Fields at 25. You're now getting some more good value here with Brunson being out, but I do think the rates will affect Towns more when I update that stuff. And of course, you want to see the screen too, by the way. Make sure to join down below. It updates throughout the night as I'm updating my projections. So keep that in mind here. If you want to ever see what I'm showing you on screen, the Squirt Squad tier, we'll do that. Squirt Squad VIP tier, if you join down below, we'll get you all my projections exportable, including for Stokastic Sims. For the Clippers, 112 implied points, getting Harden 35%. I would like to get maybe a little bit less Harden, a little bit more Kawhi, just to kind of represent this side of the equation more. It's not a great pace spot. Knicks defense is firmly league average. Clippers defense a little bit better than that. I don't love the situation, but this is the last game of the slate. Gives you flexibility. So I think getting Harden, getting Kawhi, getting Zubac all feels okay to me. Probably nothing else you want on the team, though. Bogdanovich is playing enough minutes. But you have Harden and Kawhi, and you probably don't want to play him. All right, time to go to the world of Unabated, guys. So let's learn about their conditional NBA projections. Hit the like button, subscribe, and strap on in for a journey through the world of Unabated before we hop into their betting markets and see their data right now. I forgot I have to talk through this. Yes, check out here's Unabated's markets. I'm pulling everything up on the screen as we talk here. You can see all the data, every sports book in the world you could possibly imagine on Unabated. And of course, conditional projections here. They have different projection sets for every Q-Tag player that matters on a slate. You're going to see the betting markets today without those guys, but if you want to have an edge to pounce on, you can do that with Unabated. And of course, you're going to see here distributions of data, aka graphs. Simulate individual bets, find out how often the bet is hitting. So data visualizations that actually matter as opposed to your prop stock caches and other bullshit out there. Expert Game Day live streams, they compete against me, but they do great work. So if you're not watching me, you should watch them. And then you'll be counting your money, much like you will on this graph. Oh, here we go. This graph, you'd be up about $44,000 if you had placed every bet 30 minutes before tip-off, $100 units. $10 units, you could then scale it down accordingly. 5% or higher edges, and this is unabated only before tip-off, 30 minutes before tip-off of each game. If you took the bets when the projections load each day at 4:30 p.m. East Coast time, you'd be up another $40,000. So this is what I talk about here. Professional bettors using this data have a lot of success. If you want to treat betting seriously, there's actually an article in Unabated's email they put out today, which I'm on the list for, of course, because I support the product. Talk about a guy who left his job to become a full-time bettor because of how well Unabated was doing for him. It's not everybody's going to be able to achieve that, but if you want to get better at betting and use good data and have some wins instead of just holding your finger up to the air and doing pick 'em bullshit, I would try out Unabated. Really can't give you a better recommendation. It's a great tool. There's a couple of great products in betting out there, and Unabated is one of them. All right. We're going to sort, though. We're going to give you a taste here for free. Again, your top pick 'em sites, your top sports books that everybody has access to. We're going to find the most plus EV bets. Let's start with points here. We got Dwight Powell under 7.5 points. Looks best on PrizePicks. You don't want anywhere else. So Dwight Powell under 7.5 points. Take that one on PrizePicks if you can get it, because it's 28.1% EV, and that is incredibly high. Damian Bow, you're getting over 6.5 points for him. Looking good on Underdog. The higher there, 18.3% EV. You don't want anywhere else for Damian Bow over 6.5 points. But that line looks off by about 2 points. Bismack Biyombo under 6.5 points. Looks best on Underdog. You're getting 12.6% EV. Still bettable on DraftKings Sportsbook as well. Under 6.5 on there at -120 odds. Getting you 12% EV. But Bismack Biyombo, good for the under on points today, under 6.5. Harrison Barnes under 10.5 points. Looks best on your pick'em sites. You can take it on FanDuel as well. So Barnes under 10.5 points, looking good. It's a revenge game for him too. It's like they don't know. De'Aaron Fox under 23.5 points. The under, okay. So plus EV on the under at -105 odds for De'Aaron Fox. Under 23.5 points. Gets you 9.2% EV. FanDuel, not looking good. Pick'em sites not looking quite as good, but Fox on DraftKings, take it if you can get it. Ty Jerome over 13.5 points, looking best on FanDuel. Plus 100 odds gets you 8.3% EV. Bettable on DraftKings as well, where it's only 5.7% EV, not plus money. So please take it on FanDuel if you can. That plus 100 to -105. If you took all your -105 bets at plus 100, it would be a lot better for you and your betting portfolio. But really, take the one on FanDuel, Ty Jerome. Kevin Durant under 26 points. Looks best on PrizePicks, and that's the only place you should play it besides FanDuel. So Kevin Durant under 26 points on FanDuel or on PrizePicks. And we'll look at rebounds next. I will check some chats while this sims out. Randall or McDaniels for single entry. Randall. McDaniels is spiking now. I mean, spiking recently, but every game the rates aren't quite there as much. Let's see. Bumper sticker. I scored for Crest. Thanks. Again, see, Steven gets the treatment here. I read the chat without actually looking at it first, even though Steven does not support the VIP Discord, unfortunately. Steven. I just need to recruit more people to Discord. You know how much money fucking Pete makes off his Discord? I did a count the other day. It's like, Jesus Christ, man. I need that payday. You just need to be where you get paid for just putting up a fucking server. What a no respect, obviously, because it's amazing that he built it up. But Jesus Christ, 4,000 subs on Discord? You kidding me? We got a Vika Zubac, 30.4% EV for him. Rebounds looking good, over 9.5 rebounds. On Underdog looks good. It's actually just mispriced on Underdog. So take the Zubac line immediately if you can. 9.5 rebounds is priced at 11.5 and 12 everywhere else. DeAndre Hunter, also looking good on Underdog and on and DraftKings and FanDuel. Looks best on FanDuel. In fact, DeAndre Hunter over 3.5 rebounds. -102 odds on FanDuel Sportsbook, 15% EV on Underdog, 14% EV on DraftKings. Take them on all those books. Markelle Fultz under 2.5 rebounds, -145 odds on DraftKings. The only bet you should take, the only one that's available, 19.6% EV for Fultz under 2.5 rebounds. Tajon Salon under 3.5 rebounds, -105 odds on DraftKings Sportsbook. It's a 17.5% EV. You're also getting 15.9% on FanDuel Sportsbook. So Tajon Salon, good on all the sportsbooks. Kawhi Leonard, 15% EV on FanDuel, over 5.5 rebounds for him. He's playing a lot of minutes. Unabated has him for 34 today, which is crazy. They're really stretching Kawhi out, which is terrifying. Kawhi Leonard, looking good though on FanDuel, good on DraftKings, good on PrizePicks for over 5.5 rebounds. Nick Smith under 2.5 rebounds. Guys doing nothing on the court lately. 12.6% EV on PrizePicks, 12% EV on DraftKings, and 6% EV on FanDuel. So Nick Smith, unders anywhere you can get it. Seems like it's only not available on Underdog. And Dwight Powell over 5.5 rebounds, best on your pick'em sites, but also playable on DraftKings, over 5.5 rebounds for Dwight Powell on your pick'em sites, aka pick'em bullshit. I support the pick'ems. I'm just mad at Underdog right now. Not really mad at him, just impatient, frustrated. We'll get there. Hopefully. If not, I'll be here saying PrizePicks, the best site in the world. Kidding. Evan Mobley, over 3.5 assists, plus 130 odds on FanDuel and DraftKings. Looks like the same bet on both. 22% EV for Evan Mobley, over 3.5 assists. Yusuf Nurkic, over 2.5 assists, looks best on PrizePicks, and you don't want anywhere else. So Yusuf Nurkic, over 2.5 assists. His assist rate really jumps out since he's been on the Hornets. It's like 35% or something. It's crazy how he's getting that many assists with LaMelo out there. But that is what it is. Spencer Dinwiddie, under 5.5 assists. He just doesn't do a whole lot in the court. In general, nice matchup versus Memphis, but I'm okay with this one. Under on your pickup sites for Dinwiddie, and actually Grand Slam here, available on all of them. So DraftKings, FanDuel, pickup sites, Spencer Dinwiddie, under 5.5 assists. Miles Bridges over 3.5 assists, plus 120 odds on FanDuel there. So that's your best one, 13.2% EV. Bettable on DraftKings as well for Miles Bridges over 3.5 assists. I don't know why I clicked that. Zach LaVine, 12.9% EV for him, over 5 assists on PrizePicks, and looking good over 5.5 on DraftKings, where it's plus 114 odds. Jeremy Sohan under 2.5 assists, best on PrizePicks, still bettable on DraftKings for under 2.5 assists for old Jeremy Sohan. And Trey Lyles under 1.5 assists, looking good on PrizePicks, but not available anywhere else. Trey Lyles under 1.5 assists. Last but not least, PRAs. Then we'll do a DFS lineup sim, and we'll call it a day. You can go watch some other content. Let's see what we get here. PRAs are like the main event. It's like this is the big fight right now. And the big fight starts with the biggest star, Tajon Salon. Tajon Salon under 10.5 PRAs. Looks good anywhere you can get it, which is everywhere besides FanDuel. 18% EV on DraftKings, 14.2% EV on both PrizePicks and Underdog. So Tajon Salon under 10.5 PRAs. Harrison Barnes under 15.5 PRAs. We got Underdog looking like the only playable place, 12.9% EV for Harrison Barnes under 15.5 PRAs. Sam Merrill under 9.5 PRAs, looking good on PrizePicks and Underdog. Not available anywhere else. Sam Merrill under 9.5 PRAs on your pick'em sites. Evan Mobley, 11.2% EV on FanDuel, playable on DraftKings as well, where it's a little bit of a higher line, over 30.5 PRAs. Mobley over is good on PrizePicks, good on FanDuel, good on DraftKings, but best on FanDuel. Evan Mobley under 12.5 PRAs, good on Underdog, the lower there. 12.5 PRAs gets you 11.1% EV. Seth Curry. God, can you imagine if it were Steph Curry under 8.5 PRAs? The disrespect that would be. I would take the over. Seth Curry, though, under 8.5 PRAs, looks good in your pick'em sites. Both PrizePicks and Underdog, 10% EV for Seth Curry under 8.5 PRAs. And Damian Bow, one more for him here, over 12.5 PRAs, 10% EV for him, the higher on Underdog. And that closes out Unabated. A lot more bets you can get. Again, half an hour before tip-off, you're talking about the biggest EV you can have of anybody in the industry using this data. So check it out. 20% off. Link down below. Check it out. You have your projections. You can also get the entire season for a little bit cheaper. But if you enjoy this content, you will probably get a lot of value out of that. And you just want to make more money in betting. Got to do legwork. You do have to do legwork, but it could be worth it for most of you. Even if you just want to get in good in pick'ems. But let's do some DFS simming now. Got 5,000 lineups here. We're going to build them out with Stokastic. Of course, you could also get Stokastic 15% off. Link down below. Do check them out. Another good partner of mine. And these two, I'm a partner with both of them. I move back and forth. Ooh, give a little kiss to Unabated. A little kiss to Stokastic. Big pimpin'. That's a menage a trois of betting tools and DFS sites. How sexy. And do subscribe, guys. Hopefully we're still above 1,000 subs, so please subscribe down below. You know the deal. Stokastic, of course, what they do, if you're not familiar, if you don't watch every stream, they build 5,000 lineups here using their data, my data not impacting this at all. So my hand's off the wheel. Let Jesus and Stokastic take the wheel. But they're going to give me 5,000 lineups here. We'll sim them out against each other 10,000 times, and we'll find out what the highest ROIs are. I made up a name. No, it's Tajon Salon. Important French player. One of the lesser French players, but one of the French players. And need 400 almost every night. That's true. It's true. You got to be perfect in NBA DFS, which, like I say it enough times here, you got to be, what do you mean log in? Come on. All right, let's start it all over again. You got to be willing to lose what you're putting in for NBA DFS. Like, I firmly believe that. No matter what anybody tells you, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know who would be lying to you about NBA DFS in this point in the space, but you have to be willing to lose it every night for a week, for a month, really. You shouldn't lose every night in a month, but that's just how it is. And it's frankly, the sims are so good. The data products out there are so good. That's why I love NBA DFS the most, because I win or lose by my own hand. I create my own projections. I'll use a Stokastic sim. I'll use a solver tool. I'll use whatever. I'll use other tools, but the data comes from me. So I like that. That's the fun for me. But if you don't get fun out of that, and if you can't handle the swings, NBA can be tough. So got it. Put up 360 the other night, didn't matter. Look, I put up 380 earlier in the week, and it was only 25th place. So I get it. I have to log in 2 times a day on Stokastic. Yeah, I mean, the off thing is what the off thing is. Feels like a 420 kind of night. Every night feels like a 420 kind of night. Sometimes every afternoon. Many times every morning. Let's simulate this out. You got to look at, you got to make spreadsheets fun, guys. No better way, no better way to do it. I also played a little WWE 2K25 today because I downloaded it, bought the most expensive edition because why not? And tell you what, man, I've not played 2K20 or 2K in a few years, the WWE games. A little bit of a slog of a game. It's not very arcadey fun, the WWE games, but I'll give it a shot. Why not? Can't always be overwatching NBA 2K. College football, I'm kind of fatigued of for now. Every now and then you get those 350 thumpers. Not on a slate of this size. Today's slate, I do think, absolutely feels like a 400-point slate. Which, again, the key things to look for, every team starter or guaranteed minutes. Every guy, which should be the case in every DFS slate for you, but especially today, every guy should be ideally in the closing group. Really don't play guys with shitty projections because you have so many guys that are really well projected on the slate, and you could have even more in a couple hours. If you get Jokic out for Denver, this fucking slate would be a dumpster fire. Let's pull up these lineups. 06, 08 WWE games were peak. Yes. I mean, they've had a lot of good games. I still enjoy them. I do want more arcadey fun than simulation from most of the sports games I do. Top lineup here is Stokastic. So I really don't agree with their AJ Lawson love. I get why you're getting him, but he's coming up a lot. AJ Lawson, Isaiah Joe, Klay Thompson, who I do think is a strong play, really your big usage rate winner for this depleted Mavs squad. Aaron Wiggins, Jalen Williams, De'Aaron Fox, DeMar DeRozan, Nikola Jokic. Like most of these guys, AJ Lawson, I'm just not as in on. And even with the minutes Stokastic has for him, I'm getting him at 17 fantasy points. He's just done nothing as a pro so far, at least this year. Scotty Barnes, Isaiah Joe, Klay Thompson, your number 2 ROI lineup. Aaron Wiggins again, Jalen Williams again, Tyler Hero, Kawhi Leonard, Jonas Valanciunas. No issue with any of these guys. Barnes again, key play today. James Harden at number 3. Do like him as well. Isaiah Joe, Scotty Barnes again, Aaron Wiggins again, Jalen Williams again. Cam Payne makes this one. Jacoby Walter makes this one. Nikola Jokic making it here as well. Just very easy to find money to pay for Nikola Jokic on the slate. At number 4, you have Emmanuel Quickly, De'Aaron Fox, Scotty Barnes, Aaron Wiggins, Yusuf Nurkic, James Harden, Alex Caruso, and Jalen Williams. Like all of those players, Fox I talked about, I just don't think the rates support it, but I will give him the rare revenge game boost today just to get him to 10% of my lineups. His rates, though, he's not as great of a player as people wanted him to be initially. Like he was the first couple games with Wemby out. He's just not spiking usage or assist rate that much. And 5th here, we have Scotty Barnes, Isaiah Joe, Najee Marshall, Aaron Wiggins, Jalen Williams, Jamal Murray, Zach LaVine, Jonas Valanciunas. So no Jokic in this lineup. You get some leverage on Jamal Murray, maybe as the outlier game. I like this lineup as well. Aaron Wiggins, you can see in your top 5 lineups, looking like a must play so far. So I play the WCW games on N64. Yeah, I mean, I feel like No Mercy was the peak of those, no? WWE WrestleFest was one of my favorite arcade games as a child. I wish there were an updated version. I would play that. Your top ROI guys, according to Stokastic, again, the top 150 lineups, we just favored it here. You got Jalen Williams, number 1, your only positive ROI player on the slate. Not that it matters that much, but we're mostly looking at directional accuracy here. But Jalen Williams is number 1. Number 2, you have LaMelo Ball. Shocked to see that. That's a tough matchup versus Cleveland. I would guess when he hits, he's hitting at low ownership and maybe you could still afford a Jokic or somebody good with him. So LaMelo Ball at number 2, surprised by that. Isaiah Joe at number 3, negative 5.2% ROI, but really being at number 3 is what matters. Ahead of Aaron Wiggins for whatever it's worth. Chet Holmgren, negative 7% ROI here. So I'm curious what minutes they gave him. I'm going to look at that for 1 second here because they might have updated it. Now, still get him only 26 minutes. So not giving Holmgren a lot of minutes, but they still seem to think that Holmgren a top ROI play. Alex Caruso at number 5, Klay Thompson, who we do like again, at number 6, and Jonas Valanciunas at number 7. So that's it. I am really surprised to see LaMelo. That surprises me the most. But Holmgren, too, at 26 minutes. Let's see how that plays. For Stokastic's exposures, 83% exposure in the top 150 compared to Aaron Wiggins, 58% field ownership. So basically they are a team, get him in more than less, which I am as well. I would play him in every lineup, more than I'd play him in 0, which is my metric for this. Jalen Williams, 58% fields at 21. So almost 3x the field on him. Scotty Barnes, 56%. So technically under the field, 62, but you are still getting him more than half the lineup. So clearly a bit of a cosign on Scotty Barnes, even though they seem to think he's too chalky. Isaiah Joe, 53%, Fields at 31, so not quite a 2x stand there, but a big one. Nikola Jokic, you're basically flat with the field on him. Najee Marshall, 37% compared to 24. He is one of the guys I expect to benefit a lot from no Omax being added to the walking wounded of Dallas. Jonas Valanciunas, 33% compared to 23, so getting some DeRozan leverage, / a slightly pay up center. Live with that. Your highest leverage plays in Stokastic's top 150. We got Jalen Williams at number 1, 37% leverage. Aaron Wiggins, number 2, 24%. Isaiah Joe, so 3 Thunder up top, 22% leverage on Isaiah Joe. Najee Marshall, 13%. Klay Thompson, 12. Chet Holmgren, 11. Jonas Valanciunas, 10. And I'll say for the last time here, I do think there is reason to have concern about Holmgren not playing. Usually you just don't see that much EV on the under for bets. For guys on unabated, if the conditional player is going to go. So I think you really got to watch out for Holmgren's setting, but maybe it's just a misprice by the betting markets. That's a possibility, but you know how the betting markets are. The most negative leverage plays DeMar DeRozan, negative 19% leverage. So still playing him in about a quarter of lineups, but not quite the field's 45%. Yusuf Nurkic, negative 13% leverage, only 19% ownership in Stokastic's top 150 lineups. Keon Ellis, negative 11%. A leverage, you're only getting him in 9%, so half the field. Orlando Robinson, giving you less of him too. I think they're a little bit short on minutes for him. And Toronto does not have other big men. I'll just say that out loud one more time. Jacoby Walter, negative 10% leverage. I do like him as well, but they're negative 10% on him. Quickly, negative 7. So they really only like Barnes, but they're also under on Barnes. So a lot of ownership for Barnes, still 56% exposure. They're low on the Raptors. Hard for me to be low on the Raptors when they're going against Utah. Strongly believe that. But that's the Stokastic side of things, guys. I'm going to give you guys my splash plays for the day. One more round of whoring here. Please do subscribe down below with the like button. Leave a comment. We hit, I think, probably a high in viewers here, so I appreciate you guys tuning in. But tune in every Monday to Friday at 4 p.m. I'm here doing the best work I can every day to make sure giving you guys a read here. And as the NBA descends further and further into chaos, these videos might not have the most evergreen window, but I will promise you I'm always doing the work here to stay ahead, give you guys an edge here. That is what I try to do as best I can every day. And of course, check out the sponsors too. First of all, join down below, get in the Discord for $5, get my projections, the data you see on screen here for the different packages, the Squirt Squad level and the VIP level down below. And of course, check out Unabated too, 20% off, get NBA projections, betting data, betting simulation tools like you saw on screen here. You can make a lot of money in betting if you put in the time and use good products. And Unabated is one way I can pretty much idiot proof it for you, where it's like playing bumper bowling, where you're not going to go in the gutters if you use Unabated. I can promise you that. Stokastic, 15% off as well. Great DFS tools, great DFS data as well. If you want to get their spin on things, 15% off. So check them out. Splash plays for the day. Aaron Wiggins, I think, is number 1 with a bullet. Just too good of a play, too good of a situation. I can't give it to Nurkic. Can't give it to Campaign because there's a chance that he doesn't start. Jacoby Walter, I know he's going to start. I know he's going to play 30-plus minutes. I think that he is a guy that I like more than Stokastic Sims. Jalen Williams, I'm not nuts about. I'll go Barnes and Quickly. I'll throw those guys on too. Barnes, Stokastic was still getting him in 2/3 of lineups. I would like him in that much. Quickly, I would also like to have it about that much. So feel strongly about that. Anybody else? I mean, Nikola Jokic is a pretty good play. You can easily afford. Just going through one more time on my projections. James Harden, I'll give a little bit of a cosign to. And Cat, I think those guys, like, what I would say is try to flatten out Jokic a little bit. Like, you don't get him in every lineup. Field's going to be at half, 50%. Get him in 50, get him in 33, and take some looks at Harden teams, Towns teams. Those guys in particular, DeRozan, get him in the mix a little bit. He's not a pay-up option, but like, just get some different looks. LaMelo, you saw Stokastic. Like, whenever it's too easy to get to the one pay-up guy on the slate, people will do it. And Jokic projects extremely well, so I'm not going to begrudge having a lot of your lineups with him, but just be mindful of how DFS works is what I would recommend. Make sure to gamble responsibly, guys, as always, even though it is money time here. And let me check the chats one more time here. Just nice stuff. Najee Marshall, he looks good to me. He's not a splash play, but he does look good to me. And Orlando Robinson, not a splash play, but he looks good to me. And how much are you paying me, Josh? That's the question. But I appreciate you guys being here. Have a good weekend. I'll see you guys again on Monday at 4 p.m. And hop into the Discord too. I'll be doing my updates throughout the night, so check it out. I'll see you guys again soon. Enjoy your days and good luck. Bye-bye. Have a good weekend. See ya.